All right, welcome to today's morning meeting. This is Greg Luther. Excited to be with you here today. We've got a very cool topic that we're going to be discussing, which is repairing the public perception of real estate agents. I think you're going to find this incredibly helpful today, more importantly, for your own sphere of influence, your past clients, your unconverted leads, that type of thing. So that's going to be our topic. Welcome to today's morning meeting. I'm Greg Luther, the one guy that meets with you every single week to help you in growing your real estate business. Do me a favor, check in the chat right here. Let us know the city and state that you're watching from. And we're going to dive right into today's topic because there's no question the enemy of the world right now is real estate agents. Seems like the last election year, it was the police. They're trying to defund them. Now they're trying to defund us. I want to talk about that today and some of the common misconceptions that are out there, some of the solutions that people have discussed, why a lot of those won't work, and more importantly, what you can do for your own business, for your own small business that you're running, where you've got your own sphere of influence, past clients, universe of people that know you, like you, and trust you. So that's essentially what we're going to cover here today. We know for sure that the NAR is doing nothing to repair this damage that's being done to real estate agents. If you've been in any of the chats, if you've been seen any of the social media stuff going on, you're hearing a lot of people saying real estate agents have made too much for way too long. The cartel is over. You've all conspired to do all this together and charge inflated fees. You're not going to be able to make all this huge money anymore. I want to know how they think all real estate agents are making so much money. But that is the general consensus that's out there. The Department of Justice is certainly not helping, but NAR has done absolutely 0% of what they should be doing in order to repair these damages. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that because the online bashing has been outrageous. And we're now seeing every single day, I'm getting emails from agents. I'm meeting with this seller and they want to wait till July because then they don't have to pay. I'm meeting with this seller and they only want to sign a listing agreement till July because in July they no longer want to pay. They're all seeing the headlines and they believe these changes are going to make a difference for them. I wanted to address that today so you know what to do if you go out on an appointment right now, if you know how to set the stage, set the standard, and really be an advisor for what they should be doing here. You know, one of the most important things that I've taught for 25 years now, my mentor taught me a long time ago, is really what you're doing is you're building a herd. You're gathering a herd, right? So the people that know you, like you, and trust you. You start with people you went to school with and your dentist and all the people you're associated with. And you build this big sphere of influence and you start to work it. And then you start doing lead generation. So all of those unconverted leads come into your sphere of influence, which I often call your universe. The problem is, what if somebody comes into your herd? What if somebody infects your herd? Well, we're seeing that with the attorneys now. We're starting to see let's face it, they're sending them postcards that say they are entitled to compensation because their real estate agent overcharged them. They are a victim of their real estate agent. That's literally what's happening to every single client you have ever had, back to said date, however many years they're going back. That's what's happening right now. So we have to do our part to mitigate that, to handle those issues that are coming up. But one of our goals is to build a herd, to gather our herd, but then you have to put a fence around it. And you need a big, tall fence, which means nobody else can get in. The quality of your relationship with your sphere of influence is going to determine the quality of your outcome. So what we need to do is not ignore it, not act like it's not happening. We need to go directly into this and educate our consumers with what's actually going on. So that's going to be a little bit about what we talk about here today, because the postcards that are being sent, they're causing damage. They really are. I mean, think about this. If you're my realtor, okay, I'm Greg Luther. I bought a house with you, or I sold a house with you, and you were a great realtor, and I invited you to the cookout afterwards, and you come to the kids' birthday parties and you do all that stuff. But then I get a postcard from an attorney that says I'm a party of a class action lawsuit. I may be entitled to compensation. My real estate agent may have overcharged me, corruption, coercion, all of these other things. All I have to do is submit a claim, submit my closing statement, And it will say if my agent was guilty or if I'm entitled to compensation. And guess what? They are entitled to compensation. They're going to get anywhere from $21 to $27, which how ridiculous is that to begin with? $21 to $27 is what they're going to get. And you are stuck with not knowing how to handle this with your clients because your clients are like, must have been guilty. I got to check. They must have been guilty. Whatever it was, I didn't get much, but it proves that they were guilty. Now, of course, we have strength in our relationships, right? We know a lot of our customers or our clients. That's not going to be the case. But what you really need to think about here is, can I go directly into this and talk a little bit about how we make this happen to fix our real estate business and the relationship we have with them? Okay, so you should be communicating with them on a regular basis. Your sphere of influence, your inactive clients. We don't call them past clients. That's crazy. I can't imagine if my doctor called me a past patient. I'm just not sick right now. Don't call them your past clients. These are your inactive clients, and I've got to reprogram myself on that all the time. But there's a lot you can do to have a good, meaningful conversation with them. And a lot of what we do is your monthly newsletter that goes out to them. So the monthly newsletter you're sending on a regular basis, are you putting one article in there that addresses this situation, that says you're aware of it, that says you know what's going on, and truly addressing this situation? Do you put something in there? Are you sending any postcards or letters or anything of that effect? Or do you have an email you're sending? Do you have a video that you've created and loaded onto your YouTube channel and you're sharing that with others? Are you putting it on Facebook? Or are you totally ignoring it, as most agents are, acting like it doesn't exist when it's absolute top of mind presence for all of the people that are in our universe? That's a big issue for us. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. Some of the things that you should be doing here, I would put it in, for those of you that are members with us here, let me see if I can share my screen. I don't think this is going to work for me here. I don't have my other one with me here. But when you log on to the members website, you can go in and get that newsletter that we print for you, right? Or that we create for you. You can have that printed. You can mail it out. We've got it 80% of the way done. You have room to put one article in. Write an article about your opinion about what's going on so you can better address the situation, but also educate them on what's truly happening at this point. I would do that in this month's newsletter, and I would do it again in July because it's going to be forefront again if all of this stuff gets signed and if Department of Justice doesn't screw us even more, because now they're reopening old cases that were already settled and all of that stuff. If that comes up again, we need to address this with your universe. All I'm talking about today is your people, your book of business, what you've spent your entire career trying to create. We have to take a proactive approach with this. There's a few things that we need to be talking about. So number one, and these are languaging patterns I want you to use, sound bites I want you to use. They created this lawsuit. The whole basis for this was that realtors charge inflated prices. Buyers should be able to negotiate their own fees. And the reason they're doing this is because they're trying to bring down home prices. Their thought process is, if you, the seller, don't pay a buyer's agent, you'll reduce your price by 3%. I don't suggest you do that. I do not suggest you reduce your price. I do not suggest you make the buyer pay their own fee. Generally, that's going to be built in. Your neighbors don't want you to do that. You don't want to do that. And frankly, it doesn't save you any more money at all. Their whole purpose for this is to bring down home prices and thinking if you don't pay these fees, you'll reduce your price. I do not recommend that. That's one of the things we should be utilizing, advising on how it works. Yes, commissions are negotiable. Yes, you're welcome to pay zero, but your home will cost the buyer more than the neighbor's house will. Your home will cost the buyer more than other homes that are on the market right now. That's one of the things I would be discussing. And again, show them every option so they can make a choice. Let them negotiate. Totally fine, but you should be advising them on that negotiation as well. Another thing that's coming up a lot that we're starting to see, because sellers are already saying, well, I didn't know commissions were negotiable this whole time. I don't even have to wait till July. I want to go ahead and offer zero right now. You're welcome to do that. And we're seeing that in certain areas of the country that some homeowners are offering zero, but we're also seeing the buyers are saying, I only want to look at homes where my fee is covered. I don't want to look at the homes that charge me an extra fee where I would have to pay you for compensation. Please only show me the homes where I don't have to pay that extra fee. I think it's advisable to tell the homeowner, we want to make your home as marketable as possible. We want to expose it to as many buyers as we possibly can. And making your home cost them more money only makes you more money, but gets fewer people that are interested. We are not doing the whole purpose of this in the first place, which is reducing home prices by reducing commissions. You're not trying to do that. You're trying to reduce the commissions and keep all the money. But what you're doing is actually making it more expensive. So let's say the lender said you're not allowed to build in your buyer costs. You have to pay an appraisal fee out of pocket. Well, now they've got an additional fee that they have to pay. Well, you're not allowed to finance the first 6 months of payments. You have to pay that out of pocket. Well, now they got more money they need to spend. Like all of these, because by the way, 3% is about 3 payments that they're going to need to have out of pocket if a homeowner does that. So again, you want to start thinking about how am I what does my language sound like in presenting to them? I'm not trying to convince them of anything. I don't care what they do. Like if you want to not pay a commission, why do I care? I get the same amount. It's just your home's not going to sell as fast. There's going to be far fewer buyers that are going to be interested in this. And frankly, what we're going to do is have appraisal issues because every single buyer is going to ask for it to be built in, and then it's going to be inflated, and then the home's not going to appraise anyway. You're asking for trouble. If you want to do that, that's fine. It does not affect my income. But I owe it to you as an advisor to make sure you understand the truth about what's going on here. Okay, so a couple of things that you do want to mention to them is, again, their sole purpose of this is to try and reduce home prices. That's not going to happen here. It's actually going to inflate home prices, as you can see from what we've laid out, as well as the fact that buyers that are starting to see this now are saying, I don't even want to look at homes that are going to cost me more money. That doesn't make sense. Like that home's 650, that home's 650 plus 3%. I'll go with that one. What are you talking about? Like, yes, it's negotiable, but you're going to hurt yourself in some negotiations. Okay. So keep that in mind as well. Make sure that you do note to them, of course, in your sphere of influence marketing, in your working with your people, it's very important for you to look at the fact that, or educate them on the fact that the sellers are getting an estimated $21 to $27 out of this. Now, keep in mind, the attorneys are getting tens of millions of, they're not getting 3 million or $5 million into their bank account or $8 million into their bank account. They're getting tens of millions of dollars because they represented the victims. They got $21 to $27 a piece. You know why? Because everybody is colluded to make it a set fee of 3% on each side. And the people that charge 33% when they win have, and every one of them charges 33% when they win, say that we colluded. What are you going to do? Get an attorney to sue other attorneys? Good luck on that. So if you are creating video content, which you should be doing, you should be creating video content. I'm giving you a message right now that if I weren't doing this video, I would not be communicating with you. Well, the same is true for your prospects. The same is true for your sphere of influence, your past clients. The more video you do, the more educational info you do, they learn about you, they learn about your personality, they learn about your knowledge base, and they get some education from you when it comes to the truth about real estate. So a couple of things you need to be talking about. I saw something the other day that showed the average realtor grossed $49,000 and cleared net of $28,000 for the year, which means you'd actually make more money at a gas station, right? But first of all, that's their first problem is their expenses were only $21,000 for the year. That's why you're not making any money. Your expenses were only like if you made 49 and you kept 28, your problem is your expenses. You spent 21,000 and we're trying to run a business. No wonder you're not making any money. Anybody that's doing less than that, we know they're making less than that. But it is important to note that because everybody thinks that the average realtor makes about $9 million. They're taking all the equity and they're making it harder on homeowners and everything else. You know, like they're not saying that about anybody else that's out there. When you sell something, there's fees involved. eBay takes part of your money. A car dealer, when you sell your car, you don't have any equity for them to take. They're taking more than your equity because you have what's called negative equity to build in the $3,000 they need to make in order to resell it. That's their brokerage fee, essentially. Right. So keep this in mind as well. But I would note that, depending on the area of the country you're in and that type of thing. And by the way, if you Google average realtor income, it'll range anywhere from that 28,000 to 270,000. There's even stuff on the internet that says the average realtor salary is 185. Where the hell is there a salary? There isn't one, let alone the average. But you see that type of stuff on the internet. Let's go with the truth and let's educate our consumers on this as well. Okay. So important that we do that. It's advisable to teach a little bit about what you do with target marketing and the expenses that you have involved. If you want to build value around what you do as a real estate agent, show them how you create additional exposure on their home. When you start showing them mailing list brokers and marketing list brokers and how we're using this, and when you log into exactdata.com, when you log into Data Axle USA, when you start showing these lists that we acquire, when you show how you take those custom audiences, you buy that data and you load it onto Facebook custom audience, and then you invest money in marketing to get it out to the most opportune buyers, I think they start to see value in what we do. We're not just, oh, what do? You fill out some paperwork and you wait. No, that's not at all what we do. But they don't know that unless you show them. So part of the video content that you're creating should show that. It should show what you do with target marketing and the expenses you have involved and the tremendous team you have. You have a broker, you have a front desk, you have a transaction coordinator, you have a lot of people. You have a CMO, if you have a marketing director of some sort. You have a lot of expenses involved here. But I think that you educating your consumers is one of the key factors here. For buyers, obviously, buyers need to buy now. It is your job to tell them they need to buy now. When they don't need to buy? When rates drop. How much over asking price do you want to go? Do you want to pay an extra $30,000 for this house? Would you rather pay an extra $50,000 for this house? I can show you examples of just a couple years ago, rates were so low you could pay $100,000 over asking price. How high do you want to go? You see, getting a house and getting a mortgage are two different things. You know what I'd recommend? Getting a house when a lot of people can't get one, you'll get a better deal. And then refinance your mortgage if it ever becomes cheaper. It's going to cost you like $4,000 to refinance your house, but it's going to cost you a lot more than that if you wait until rates are lower. Why would you not be advising buyers of the fact that that's what happens? The lower rates are, the more people qualify, and price is a function of supply and demand. We don't have to talk about houses. We can talk about clothing. We can talk about cars. We can talk about toilet paper. We can talk about hand sanitizer. If demand goes up, price goes up. If demand goes down, they'll give it away. We know that's the case. So you need to be educating your consumers on this as well. Very, very important that you do that. Just kind of going through some of my notes here. We're starting to hear some stuff now, which is the craziest thing I've ever heard. I think you should address this too. They're saying that a lot of people are saying, including the Department of Justice, they are not going to settle until realtors agree to be paid hourly. Please. Can we? Where do I vote to get paid hourly? Realtors will have zero incentive to sell the home. As a matter of fact, whenever the home does sell, their money stops. Are you crazy? You really don't want them to have an incentive for the home to actually sell? You would really rather okay, I'm asking $650 for this listing. And a buyer's agent calls you up. Yeah, my guy's only good to $640. Hell no, we're not doing that. Don't even waste your time. Don't even submit an offer. My seller wants $650 and I'm representing their best interest. I'll actually convince myself that I am. You know why? Because I'll get more hours in. I can convince myself that I'm trying to fight for every dollar my seller wants instead of actually trying to put the deal together. See, a win-win-win is when everybody wants the home to get to closing. The last thing you want to do is pay somebody that the more work they do, the more money they get. You look at the average realtor that's doing 4 to 8 deals a year. You think they want those deals to close? If they're actually getting hourly, that means their job is over. If they're getting an hourly fee, that doesn't make sense. You should have an incentive for people to get their home closed. So again, I want you to really start thinking through these things so you have your languaging down. You should be going on a lot of appointments. Those of you that are involved in inner circle coaching, you're seeing I've got a lot of new stuff that's rolling out to you here. I want you implementing it, and I want you going on appointments. But the agents that are like, oh, nothing's changing until July, you haven't met with many homeowners, have you? You haven't met with many home buyers. Do you think there's any homeowner in the world that's thinking about selling and doesn't know what's going on? Do you think they haven't been on the internet? Do you think it hasn't been top of mind presence because they've been thinking about this for 8, 10, 12 months about selling? It's not like they woke up today and decided to sell. So we're dealing with this now. It can go away. You can make it business as usual. Nothing's changed and all of that. But that's only if you're advising your clients properly. Only if you're advising them properly. Okay. So I want you to educate them, but also prompt them for, you're building trust, authority, and credibility. That's the 3 things you're trying to do with your sphere of influence. You're building trust, you're building credibility, and you're building authority. All 3 of those come from you showing you know your stuff, from you educating the consumer, from helping them with any issues they're having as far as their own mindset or what they think you do or how much you make or all of those other factors that are involved. But I got to tell you, and listen, let's just talk about this agent to agent. If we were a homeowner that didn't know what we know, we would think they're the enemy too. If we were the homeowner that didn't know what they know, we'd say, of course I'm not paying a fee I don't have to pay. You mean I don't have to pay the buyer's? Hell no, I'm not paying that. It's normal for that to happen. But I also want to point out to you, while you might feel like right now you've done nothing wrong, but you kind of feel like the victim because people are like, oh, you real estate agents are overpaid and the game is over. It was a great run while you had it. All of that crap that's happening right now. I posted something on my Facebook, I don't know, a week or 2 ago about Open Door. Open Door has, I don't remember the exact number, $50, $60 million, whatever they have to pay. I posted that online. And it was surprising to me how many real estate agents, you know what they said? Good. It's what they deserve. Bunch of damn crooks. I've lost so many deals to it. A lot of the stuff they do is unethical. You're a seller right now, aren't you? You're mad at another person that's competing against you, that's taking business from you. All of a sudden you think they are illegal. Listen, they're not after them. They're not after you. They're after all of us. They're after making us, all of us, the enemies. That's what they're trying to do. So when you naturally have that immediate response, good, Open Door, they've been making millions of dollars off of us forever, and they're not even licensed. And whatever it is that you're saying, it's untrue, but it's the same reaction homeowners and home buyers have when it looks like someone was guilty. Good, we knew it all along. And it's a very common practice for us to believe that's the case. So don't be mad when the sellers and buyers think, look, you were proven guilty in the court of law. There was collusion. Maybe you ought to look up who BlackRock and Blackstone owns. Maybe you ought to see who's the biggest donors of certain parties. Maybe you ought to look at why this is happening in the first place. Maybe you ought to look at the fact that the people that are saying we do this are the people that always charge 33 1/3%. Maybe you ought to look at the fact that even if you do reduce commissions, no homeowner is reducing their price. You ever seen it for sale by owner? Same damn price. Maybe it's even higher. They're not paying commissions at all. They certainly didn't reduce it. They're trying to get more than market value. You know why? Because there's no pro involved. There's not a professional real estate agent involved. But we have empirical evidence that shows if you cut a realtor out of the deal, it doesn't cut the price. So you need to educate your consumers on that. But more importantly, right now, you have to talk about it. You have to go directly into the face of this because a lot of homeowners out there right now, your past clients, your sphere of influence, the people you've worked with and sold them 3 homes over the years, they literally got a postcard that said you may be a victim of your real estate agent. And they're asking for closing statements and they're sending it in. So you need to talk a little bit about why this is going on. Okay. Very, very important that you do that. Now, with that in mind, uh, build that credibility. Make sure you're always asking for referrals, doing the things you need to do that way. But you got to make sure they like you in the first place. You didn't do anything wrong, right? Like this had nothing to do with you. So it's important to educate the consumers on that. A couple of other things I want to talk to you about. There are a lot more sellers getting ready to sell. If you look back at last Tuesday's morning meeting, I gave my 7 big predictions that I believe is happening. We're starting to see more sellers that are thinking of moving right now. As the next Fed meeting comes up, and then one after that, and the one after that, they're realizing, some people are waiting on a hard landing. Some people are waiting on a soft landing. They're very quickly thinking maybe there's going to be no landing. These so-called rate cuts are now starting to talk about maybe rate increases, which could be a bit of a concern. But people aren't slowing down the way they want them to slow down, supposedly, right? But if you saw Jamie Dimon's comments yesterday, Jamie Dimon's a pretty smart dude. And his comments yesterday, it's a little bit of an issue. But homeowners are realizing this might be the new norm. Maybe we go ahead and sell now. So with that in mind, you as a real estate agent, now that there's more sellers that have been sandbagging for a year and a half, they're finally starting to move. You need to take advantage of that marketing to attract those sellers to you. They're going to work with somebody. You need to get them to work with you. Now, you will need to have these conversations with them, but you do need to get them working with you. What do you have out there today that a couple of homeowners in your area that are getting ready to move, because there's a couple that are getting ready to move, do they see your stuff at all? Do they have an opportunity? Will they have an interest in what it is you're offering where they say, wow, how do you do that? Get me more info on that. Or do they not even know you exist? Are you fighting with obscurity? So there's a lot of owners that are thinking of making that move now that they realize the market is not doing whatever they thought it was going to do. Keep in mind, we're already in April. We're very quickly going to be in May. So those that were watching for that hard landing or soft landing or a recession or a depression or, the debt is at an all-time high and all of those facts, for some reason, the world doesn't agree with facts these days, and it keeps right on chugging. So it's something for you to think about when it comes to your marketing as well. Every door direct mail is working very, very well right now. Geo farming is working very, very well right now. We're seeing higher response rates than we've seen in a long time, at least a year and a half, because it's not falling on deaf ears anymore. People are finally willing to make that move. So I want to make sure you are working with them at a high level and you've got that marketing out there. Facebook ads, lowest cost we've had in a long time. I think that's only going to go for another 60 or 90 days because it's an election year, right? So it doesn't matter where you're advertising. Television, radio, Facebook ads go up because demand goes up, right? When they're running political ads, there's only so much ad space. So they're going to charge more for those advertising spots. Doesn't matter if it's billboard or it's television or it's whatever. There's just more people that are advertising. Again, more demand. You could say, oh, well, once the market crashes, it's going to be cheaper. It's demand. If there's more people buying ads, your ad cost goes up. Right now, it's crazy low. You should be advertising. You should be generating Facebook leads. You should be sending out a boatload of every door direct mail. Your EDDM should be minimum 2,000, preferably 8 to 10,000 per month, because it's so much more profitable. Now, you don't have to do that. You can just do free stuff. Just know you're not going to make the money from the stuff you would be making money from. You'll just be making money from the free stuff, and that's fine. Some agents need to start there, but man, you need to get scaled up as quickly as you can. If your total cost of running your business is $1,500 a month, as they said the average is there, if you're spending $1,500 a month to run an entire business, first of all, you can't run a gas station for that. And a gas station only makes a couple $100,000 a year. How are you ever going to run a real business with low cost? Now, you can use the low cost stuff to generate revenue and then bootstrap your business, but you got to bootstrap. You got to make it happen. If you didn't go meet with a FISBO at all this week, which is free, if you didn't go meet with one at all, you didn't actually meet one face to face, let's be honest, you're not trying. You're bullshitting yourself. Let's be very honest. If right now, when I look on all of those tools that are out there that show me all of the for sale by owners, Zillow, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, the Penny Saver, RedX, Land Voice, Vulcan 7, when I look at all of these for sale by owners, dozens in every city, I can't tell you how many agents said, Greg, there's just not many in this city. I'm like, well, here's 73. Oh, well, I wasn't look. I know, but like, I want you to go on appointments tonight. I want you to have problems. I want them to say, I don't want to pay a buyer's commission. You got to get in the pocket. You got to be in there doing the business, not getting ready to get ready. So you should be out there meeting them today to get yourself the revenue going. But again, Facebook ads is working well. So many of these things are working really, really well. One thing I would recommend for everybody, I'm getting ready to re-record it, but one of our greats that's been around for years as an Inner Circle coaching member is the money call. And many of you know I just recently closed enrollment in Inner Circle. Nobody else can get involved with us because I want to take all of our members here and really get you closing a ton of business. One of the first things you need to focus on is your thoughts and your feelings about money. So when you go into the members website and you click on that foundational model, you can click on the money call. I'm getting ready to redo it because the audio is kind of bad. This was way back when we used a teleconference company. But we're going to talk a little bit about how that money call applies to you every single year of your career. The agents that have listened to that said it was a game changer. Their entire lives, they never thought of money the way that we talk about on there. There's no YouTube videos about this. There's no financial advisor that'll tell you this stuff. This has been my personal policy my entire life on how I think about the acquisition and investment of money. And that's what you're doing as a real estate agent. Your goal is to turn advertising dollars into profit. That's what you do for a living. You don't like fill out contracts and call appraisers and go to closing companies and all that. What you do is turn advertising into profit. There's a lot of stuff you have to do, but that's true if you own a landscaping company. That's true if you own a CPA business, right? That's true if you own a plumbing company. You turn advertising into profit. If you don't use the first part, you don't get the second part. Oh, well, all of my business comes from people that already know me. Well, then your business sucks. It's okay, but it's never going to be the wealth that you're trying to accumulate because you need more people to know you. Now, if your sphere of influence gets to 8,000 people, now you've got what you're looking for. So how do I get more people to know me? I agree sphere of influence works. I agree past clients work, but not when you've had 73 past clients in your whole life. You got to have a bigger universe. Okay. So start thinking about these things as you push through the week here. We do have an awesome Inner Circle coaching call coming up on Thursday. Everybody will get the reminder on that. We've got an awesome coaching call. I think you'll find it helpful. By the way, make sure you are subscribed to this YouTube channel and you ring the bell. Turn on notifications because that's the only time you're going to know when we have our morning meetings. I usually don't email it. I emailed it this morning. I usually don't email it out, but so many people end up watching it later. If you come back to this video tomorrow, you'll see thousands of views. But the last couple of weeks, if you look at the last views of our lives here, man, 40,000, 50,000 realtors are watching this. Inner Circle members have exclusive access to the inside, the stuff that we're actually using to make the profit. But are you going to log on today and listen to that money call? Are you going to go into the foundational model, go through the FISBO training, and then go meet a FISBO today? Or are you just trying to be a member of something? Yeah, I can log in. I can have it whenever I want. No, man. How many deals you going out and signing up today? How many sellers are you meeting today? Let's go make money. So I want you to utilize that access. Log in. The coaching retreat is coming up. The Hustle and Grow conference is coming up here very soon. We're closing down registration, I believe, this week. So let me see if I can get back to, I don't know if this is going to show or not. I don't think I can get to that page. Yeah, I'm not seeing it here. I'm not real good at sharing my screen, but when you log on to the member site, you'll see that link for the coaching retreat coming up. We're going to close down registration because the hotel's all over us already saying we cannot get that many people in the room, fire marshal, whatever. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll just hide. We'll have you on somebody's shoulders with a trench coat and we'll bring everybody in. But I really think it's going to be so much fun for everybody. And the 2 days of content will get your business making the kind of money you want to make. It's inner circle members only. You get to attend at absolutely no charge. So I think you'll find that beneficial. Give me a little heart or a thumbs up here in the chat or whatever you do that way. Share this with other agents if you'd like. But more importantly, let's decide what we're going to do to make money this week. Let's stop learning and let's drop the L. Let's go out and start earning. I'm here to help you in any way that I can. Jump on the member site right now. Go through the money call. It's about 60 minutes. I want you to listen to it, and I think you will find it very, very helpful for you there. Okay? Thanks for joining us today, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye for now.